My name is William Wu. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Still live there now, and I've been with Era Group now coming up on 5 years. My background, I'm a CPA by trade, started off in public accounting, then moved into technology. I actually co-founded a technology services firm, was a shareholder there for 17 and a half years prior to joining Era Group. The entire value proposition really resonated with me. As a former shareholder, the story I typically share is around insurance. We had, in my prior firm, we had a CFO that would tell us almost without fail every single year, he would come into the room and say, hey, our broker came at us with a 10% increase for next year, but I got it down to 6%. And I remember thinking year after year, hey, that sounds fantastic. But the real question I should have asked is, well, how do I know that 6% increase is actually good? And so really when you apply that to what Era Group can do is that we answer that question, and that kind of concept applies to every cost category. Right? It's every organization, they're going to negotiate the best pricing in terms that they can, and even if they're fantastic negotiators, really they don't have access to the amount of data that we do to be able to validate or vet whether the pricing in terms that they're able to secure really is best in class. And I think that's truly the value that we can bring to our clients, is to help answer that question. And if nothing else, we actually keep suppliers accountable, making sure that they're delivering, the best support and service that they can. The client case study I'd like to share with you is an oilfield services manufacturer. They were actually publicly traded, and it was an interesting scenario because as big as they were, they did not have a true central procurement team. I met with the CFO, and he was intrigued by the value that we could bring to the organization. Unbeknownst to me at the time, that they were going through some M&A conversations, and so I think he was certainly motivated to try to optimize their procurement as best he could. From the client perspective and why they decided to engage us, I think they were as much curious as anything else, right? In terms of how they performed against their competitors in the space. I think that was a big selling point. I think the other thing too is just because of the way they were decentralized and trying to get their arms around, what the organization was really spending, how they were spending it, was really some of the questions we could help them answer. And really just being that third party coming in to provide that independent perspective, certainly I felt like was appealing to the CFO. When a client is looking at trying to answer the question of, are we spending too much, or how can we spend better? We can help answer that question. And our analysts across the 70 plus categories that we work in, the insight and intelligence that they bring to the table is really unmatched. So the results that we produced for our clients, just over the 10 projects that we executed for them, we produced over $5 million in savings. There was a little bit over $30 million under review, and it really covered a pretty wide gamut. So we're trying to separate them into groups. So we started with including supply chain and logistics, like land freight, and also international freight like sea and air. We also did your more typical SG&A spends like IT, telecom, and also corporate services like janitorial and supplies. Also HR, we did recruiting, looked at their third-party staffing fees, and again, each one of these categories, we produced some significant results. And last but not least, we also dove into some direct costs. Pipe was obviously a big spend for a manufacturer, as well as metals. From my perspective, certainly, I think the client was certainly pleased with the results that we produced. I think it also demonstrated what Era Group can do. Really, from my standpoint, the value that we bring, the role that we play, if nothing else, just to produce independent perspective and just kind of provide that insight into an organizational spend, it really should be a no-brainer, right? And I think the CFO that engaged me, I think he recognized that.